So welcome to Jumbo IS and welcome to our lecture series called Daily News in Shorts. In this lecture series, we cover a particular day's current affairs in a short span of time. Now, I know we haven't been regular in the past couple of days because there were some technical issues. So that is why today we are going to cover Saturday's current affairs. And rest assured, from tomorrow onwards, your current affairs lectures would be as per schedule. This is just a 2-day problem, so I hope you understand. Nonetheless, let's first cover Saturday's current affairs. Okay, so first let's take a look at the list of topics. So, there are only 3 topics that we shall cover from Saturday, 30th of August. Number 1 on this list is energy sovereignty for India. Number 2 is revenue loss from GST reforms. And number 3 is state energy efficiency index. Okay. Topic number 1 is with respect to energy independence. As you all know, we import a lot of crude oil. So we need to be sovereign, independent in that regard. Okay. So there was a Niti Aayog paper that was published. We are going to discuss that. Then we will talk about revenue loss from GST reforms. As you all know, that government is almost on the verge of launching GST 2.0, right? Now, these GST reforms are going to bring in significant revenue losses for certain states, and these states are demanding compensation. So we'll talk about this issue. Okay, arguments in favor of composition against compensation. And in the end, we'll talk about State Energy Efficiency Index, which is released by Bureau of Energy Efficiency. What is this Energy Efficiency Index? We'll talk about that. All right. So these are the 3 news items that we shall zero in our attention on. So let's start discussing them one by one. Topic number 1, energy sovereignty for India. Now, why is this topic important? Okay. You all know that India is dependent on the rest of the world for 85% of its crude oil needs. 85% of our crude oil needs come from imports. Okay. And 50% of our natural gas also comes from imports. So we are heavily import dependent. Now, what is the problem with import dependence? Well, if our international relations are going good, then there is no problem. But if our international relations sour a bit, okay, they become problematic, then this becomes a vulnerability. As is the case right now, okay, there were some geopolitical problems, there were some wars, and because of that, we started depending heavily on Russia for our crude oil needs, right? But because of this dependence on Russia, now USA is applying tariffs on us, okay? Now, this brings into question significant energy vulnerabilities for India. Okay, this is a risk for us. Too much reliance on one geopolitical partner like Russia increases India's vulnerability in the current geopolitical environment. Therefore, this line is very good. Okay, make sure that you include this line in your answers as well. It is a very good line. Diversification, not substitution, is the real currency of sovereignty. Okay. We need to diversify our sources. We shouldn't wholeheartedly depend on Russia alone. Okay, diversification is important. Now, what are the current India's vulnerability? Okay, as far as energy is concerned. So, what are India's vulnerabilities? First of all, our import bill burden. Crude oil and natural gas imports worth $170 billion form 25% of our imports, straining our foreign exchange and widening our current account deficit. Okay, 25% of our imports come from this energy imports. So this is a problem area, okay, because we are spending a lot of foreign exchange, rupee is depreciating and our current account deficit is widening. Second vulnerability is over concentration on Russia. Post-Ukraine war, Russia's share rose to 35 to 40% of imports, exposing India to geopolitical risk and sanctions vulnerability. And as you all know, that USA is using that to apply sanctions, not sanctions, but tariffs on India, right? Then macro instability. Import spikes depreciate the rupee. Okay, if there is a lot of, if your import bill is high, then your rupee depreciates. Okay, when your rupee depreciates, inflation becomes high. Okay, when inflation becomes high, well, then government is spending all its energies on controlling inflation, right? Fiscal space, that is government money, is limited for welfare and infrastructure spending. That also gets challenged. Plus, This vulnerability is also problematic because this area where we buy our oil from is a war prone area. Russia is in a war. Okay, Middle East is in a war-like situation. So this brings into question energy sovereignty. We need to become energy independent. Okay. Now, what are the challenges to energy sovereignty? Why isn't India becoming sovereign when it comes to energy? First of all, we lack technological gaps. Okay. We can become a little energy independent if we wholeheartedly apply nuclear energy. But for nuclear, we need technology for small modular reactors. And we lack indigenous small modular reactor designs. We are also import dependent when it comes to small modular reactors. So this is a problem. Then we need technology for coal gasification projects. We need technology for electrolyzer paths. Okay, electrolyzers are those machines that produce green hydrogen. For that, we are dependent on China and EU. So we are not that self-reliant. So even if we shift towards these technologies, we'll still be import dependent. Clear? Then financing deficit. Energy transition requires 10 trillion till 2070. But India's green finance inflows remain below. Okay, we don't have money for green transition. Then infrastructure bottlenecks, weak transmission network, storage capacity for solar and wind energy. This is a problem. Policy fragmentation, overlapping mandates of Ministry of Power, Ministry of New and Renewable Energy, Ministry of Petroleum and Natural Gas. They have similar goals, but they're not working. There is lack of coordination between these ministries. Okay. Then environmental costs. Coal gasification raises emissions. Nuclear projects face land issues. Hydro projects like dams and all, they face ecological disasters. So that is a problem. Then there are global prices issue, global market volatility. Plus, most of these new technologies require critical minerals. And India is not self-reliant as far as critical minerals are concerned. We are still import dependent. Okay, so this is a major issue. All right. Now, what opportunities are there for India? So, coal gasification is one such opportunity. Biofuels. If we transition towards biofuels, this is a good opportunity. If we do enough research and development for small modular reactors, nuclear is an opportunity. Green hydrogen is an opportunity. Plus, we are quickly transitioning towards solar and wind. Right? Now, problem with solar and wind is they are intermittent. That means when the sun is shining bright and high in the sky, then you produce solar energy. But when it is night time or cloudy weather, then solar energy is not produced. Okay. So you need good storage infrastructure. So when sun is shining and you are producing surplus solar energy, you need to store it in batteries. But a cheap way of storing energy is pumped hydro storage. And India has good potential in that. So these are some of the opportunities which if India capitalizes on, India can become a little energy independent. Clear? So this was there. Now let's quickly shift our focus to second news item, and that is revenue loss from GST reforms. Okay. So you all know this. During his Independence Day speech, Prime Minister Narendra Modi announced a Deepavali gift to the people in the form of next generation GST reforms. And this GST 2.0, what will it be? Currently, there are 4 tax slabs. Okay, there is 5% GST rate on some goods, there is 12%, 18%, and 28%. Right? There are 4 tiers. So, under the new GST regime, we will get to from 4 tier to 2 tier. Okay, 12% and 18%. So, as you can see, so instead of having 4 tiers, we will only have 12% tax rate and 18%. So this will simplify. Okay. And yes, government has kept 40% for sin goods or luxury goods. That is there. But for majority of goods, you will only have 2-tier tax rates. So basically, you have tried to simplify GST, right? Now, this is a good thing. And that is why Prime Minister Modi said that this is a Deepavali gift for you all. But the problem is that this is going to lead to a lot of revenue losses, tax revenue losses, especially for certain states. And now the states are demanding a compensation for this, which the central government is not ready to give. So this is the issue. Okay, so let's talk about the background of this issue. So rationalization of GST slabs, I've told you that. What is the benefit for this? Why is this beneficial? The reform will bring down average GST rate to 10% from 11.5%, currently aligning India with advanced economies and improving competitiveness. Okay, so this is a good way. It will simplify certain things. But there are going to be significant revenue losses. Okay, as you can see, 60,000 to 1 lakh crore revenue losses annually. And this is where states are not liking this. Okay, so now states are saying that, okay, go ahead with these reforms, but provide compensation to us. Okay, now these states are presenting certain arguments for compensation. What are those arguments? They're saying that this will bring in fiscal fairness. You see, for certain industrialized states like Tamil Nadu and Maharashtra, revenue losses are going to be significant. And non-industrialized states like Bihar, UP and Northeast, their revenue losses won't be there. So industrialized states are saying that you are penalizing us for being industrialized. This is a problem. Okay. Financial position of states is already weak. Plus, if you won't give them this compensation, then this revenue loss would really impact their financial position. Okay. Then asymmetric exposure. Like I said, industrialized states are facing higher revenue losses than non-industrialized states. Okay. Plus, when GST was brought in for the very first time in 2017, it was the compensation scheme which basically convinced states to be on board and support GST. Okay, they supported GST because of this compensation scheme. But this compensation scheme ended on 2022. And now government is saying we are bringing a new GST 2.0. So states are saying bring in a new compensation scheme, otherwise we are not on board. Clear? This is their argument. But what are the arguments given by central government? Why they are saying that they won't provide compensation? They are saying it is already financially unviable for them. Plus, the thing is that if central government will provide compensation to states, states won't take the required reforms to improve their revenue. Okay, they need to plug GST leakages and many other leakages. Their GST revenue will increase if they'll do that. But if central government is ready to give them reform money, they won't plug in these leakages. Clear? Then, well, they're saying that the first compensation scheme, the center is saying the first compensation scheme was already temporary. We won't extend it. Plus, without central funding, there are models available which will basically help states in improving their financial shortfall, like Kerala flood cess. So states themselves can raise money or center can raise extra money to compensate states. Funding is not required because already central government's finances are also strained. So this is a problem. Clear? So these are the two arguments, case for and against. Just remember this, all right? And last but definitely not the least, State Energy Efficiency Index. So what is State Energy Efficiency Index? Basically, what is energy efficiency? You see, when we consume energy, well, some of it is used, but some of it is wasted, right? Now, if 40% is getting wasted and 60% is getting used, then you are highly energy inefficient. But if you reduce this wastage, then you are becoming energy efficient, because then you will be using less electricity will be produced, right? Plus all your needs are also getting taken care of. So we want to improve our energy efficiency. Okay, now for that reason government tried to instill a healthy competition between states. There should be a healthy competition between states. Whichever state is most energy efficient will get rank 1. So for that, well, in 2018 we launched Energy Efficiency Index, State Energy Efficiency Index. Okay, now its latest report or 6th edition was recently released. Now this Energy Efficiency Index is released by Bureau of Energy Efficiency in association with Alliance for Energy Efficient Economy. So remember these two names. Okay, Now let's talk about this energy efficiency index. So it is a composite index to track and compare energy efficiency of states and UTs. Okay, which sectors are covered? Well, how are your buildings designed, industry, transport sector, agriculture sector? So basically you are checking energy efficiency in all these areas. Purpose is very simple, I've told you. Now states are already categorized into 4 groups based on their energy consumption. So group 1 is which consume the most energy, group 2, group 3, group 4. This MTOE means million tons of oil equivalent. Basically, the energy you're consuming is measured in how much oil you're consuming. Okay. Now, based on the score of different states, they are put in different categories: frontrunners, achievers, contenders, aspirants. Clear? Those who are getting 60% plus score, frontrunners, achievers 50 to 60, and so on. Clear? Now, there is some extra information about Bureau of Energy Efficiency, so go through that. Okay. And that would be all. Today's current affairs lecture would be short and crisp. That would be all. Just make sure you revise it from the notes provided along with this lecture. And those notes are shared on our Telegram channel. Just make sure you do that. All right. And that would be all from my side, guys. I hope you understood each and everything. And let me promise you that from tomorrow onwards, we'll be fairly regular. You don't have to, this was just a 2-day thing. Okay. But let me assure you, from tomorrow, we'll be fairly regular. So you can continue with your routine. And that would be all. I shall see you next time with another set of news items. Thank you, everyone.